Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate applying my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a day with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
TES Esports. I am joined today with my fair fellow friend, Fel here. Actually, I didn't realize I just said it that way. So how you doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for co-hosting with me here. We got a good matchup between 3-0 versus 2-1. Bloom Gaming Bubble Blowers versus Monkey Mayhem. So both of these teams, they're riding pretty high, like decently, but definitely like 4-0 is huge to start a season. So Monkey Mafia, like really looking forward to seeing these guys because from what I understand, they're a lot of fun to watch, and especially with the jungler Vool, should be a lot of action for us.
And for what I'm understanding, that they are the current favorites at the moment in this matchup, as they are coming into this week once again, as you mentioned, 4-0, or I believe it was 3-0, but they are currently undefeated as the wow, I'm already Bloom Gaming Bubble Blowers. I had to think about it for a second so I don't mess it up. Is in the current moment where they did lose last week, but they're definitely looking to see if they can make something happen here in this matchup. As we do see for the first set of bans, it's going to be Gwen, Diana, Sivir for the side of Bloom Gaming, and then you do have Monkey Mayhem banning out Smolder, Varus, and J4.
Yeah, no, we get the first pick, Seraphine. I guess that's going to be into the hands of Shark Enthusiast, I would assume, unless they're going for an APC bot. But you don't usually... I don't think the Seraphine's that strong right now in the meta to kind of suspect that. So we are going to get that, and then the answer is going to be the Jinx, the long scale, protect the president potentially comp coming out from Monkey Mafia, and the Ambessa, which is a very strong flex right now in the top lane and the jungle, obviously. But it will be matched with Aatrox, and prior to this, Chromium is known as an Aatrox one trick, and everything else is kind of missed. So we'll see if Monkey Mafia are just kind of baiting him into that, and they really think that Ambessa is going to be able to take care of that, or if they're letting them have it, and then it's like, well, if we beat him with his best, then there's no shot afterwards. So it could be a little bit of a mind game as we get the Ashe and the Sona to round out the rest of this first round.
I really do like seeing the Bloom Gaming coming out for their bot lane, trying to make it a strong lane, giving that combination of both Ashe and Seraphine, immediately able to proc the Seraphine snare to kind of give you that extra layer of CC, and considering how honestly squishy the bot lane is going to be, a level 2 engage from a Seraphine Ashe could actually spell death for this bot lane. So they're gonna have to be as careful as possible playing into this, especially with how short range Jinx tends to be without her rockets. But we do see now the next set of bans coming out, as we do see from Monkey Mayhem banning out the Syndra and Zhao, while Galio and Wukong also being targeted towards the mid and jungle is banned out by Bloom Gaming.
Yeah, and I like what you said there. For one, the range difference is huge. The volley, although it takes up a lot of mana, does outrange everything that Sona has, and everything except for the zap for the Jinx. And then Seraphine can also outrange Sona in pretty much every way. Also, you have a huge engage tool with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow followed by Crescendo, or vice versa, whatever. Whereas the Sona with the Encore, it's gonna have, or I have those back wrong. The Crescendo with Sona, she's gonna have to be close in, and it'll be more reactive more than likely. But definitely trying to keep this Jinx, alive and firing from the backside once she gets her Runons and the rockets. Like, it can be a huge menace, especially with Ambessa and Malphite being able to just get into this one with the Kindred now being picked. So that is going to be a Malphite mid more than likely, I guess, or I don't know. I don't know how much I like this from Monkey. I understand giving Aatrox is kind of a flex, but picking Malphite and leaving up Sylas is usually, that's 100% a no-go. And yeah, but
it's
okay.
It's unfortunate to see, like, Bloom Gaming came with a comp. Like, they were like, no, we really have something that we want to essentially win, and we want to be able to win from early throughout the, like, they want to be able to win throughout the entire game. They're hoping to have a really good early game in the bot lane, while Sylas starts to scale throughout the mid lane, while having Aatrox eventually become the raid boss that he does in that top side, with Maokai being able to influence on the map. I really do like what Bloom Gaming is doing here. While I do understand the message from Monkey Mafia, where they literally want to go like balls to the wall, full engage, get the squishies and kill them as quickly as possible. We literally have the public execution suppression, and then you have the Malphite with his unstoppable, like literally just charging right into you. So they do have that combination, but as you said, the Silas is here, and he has a lot of fun ults to steal this time around. And so when you have the crescendo, when you have the public execution, him going unstoppable, the Kindred ult, and then you can possibly steal a Jinx rocket just to be able to execute somebody. There's a lot that was given up to this Silas. I really do like what Bloom Gaming is doing here, but they still do have a kind of a little bit of a mountain to climb. But I don't think Monkey Mafia is gonna look completely undefeatable in this game, especially with the composition they're going to go up against.
Yeah, and Bloom Gaming didn't draft like super squishy either, so going AP on the Malphite is probably not going to be the way to go. So all of your damage and your follow-up damage is going to be AD, right? So like you're really looking at in the late game team fights, the public execution damage. But if they start getting armor, even getting plated steel caps on your ADC or your support, like as crazy as that sounds sometimes, like you literally mitigate like 65-70% of the damage that's coming your way, right? And so I think that the onus is going to be on Monkey Mafia to not just play their comp aggressively, but get ahead, right? And be able to smack them around with their wallets before they can survive long enough and before anything can really be sent out the back. I agree with you. I like Bloom Gaming's draft a lot better. I think that Maokai in the jungle is a little more consistent than Kindred would be. You do have the metagame of where the passive's going to get, so she can get her stacks, and it could be on the top side, could be on the bottom. That's a 50-50 from the start. So if Kindred doesn't start getting her passive stacks, she starts falling behind, and then if she's not getting her kills on champions that she selected or assists, then doesn't get her passive stacks, and then she just sort of falls into like a short range but on the other hand, it's also a high risk, high reward kind of thing. But I really hate the fact that they left this up Malphite with Silas still up.
Yeah, these two compositions, I think for a lot of people in general, whether you're watching at home or whatever you're watching from at this moment, you're probably looking like, if you took the name plates off completely and didn't know which team was which, I think a lot of people are gonna look at the left side and be like, oh yeah, no, like that's a comp, like that's what we want to go for. Like it just has just about everything that you need, and it has strengths every stage of the game, no matter what point you're at. So if somehow Bloom Gaming is able to get a really good early game out of this, I think it's going to be really hard for Monkey Mafia to be able to face them in the late game that they want to try to make it to as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is kind of one of those things, like I said, high risk, high reward. Like Monkey Mafia 100% can run away with this easily. And the fact that they are the 3-0 and they're the heavy favorites coming in, maybe they know something that we don't, and they know something that Bloom Gaming doesn't, because they literally allowed Bloom Gaming to have their one trick top laner, and then pick a comp that kind of centers around all in from a tank and a little bit of like a scrapper in the Ambessa, and then all of your follow-up damage is AD. The Kindred and the Ashe, and then Sona doesn't really add too much damage on top of that. Swag's not out here pulling out the press the attack. So, yeah, it's interesting. I definitely do. So before First Blood or anything else happens, we do need your prediction. Who is Game 1 going to? Malco.
I'm gonna be a believer in Bloom Gaming for this one. They just simply have the better comp in this way, and I'm hoping that they have the ability to at least play an even early to mid game, which will then put them in a really good spot, I think, ultimately once the first major real team fight happens, unless it happens super early. So we just have to wait and see, but I think I can give Bloom Gaming the win on this one.
Okay. All right. Well, last week you did not you did not live up to the expectations. You did end up going 1-2. But prior to that, you were 2-0. So we'll see. And I don't know if we have any subs in this one, because that was also something that we've experienced on this Olympus. Okay, so we do have the mid and the ADC for Bloom Gaming. So that's on par with how things normally go for you. So.
Yeah, so we usually have to just pick a team with the sub, and it usually it's like sub buff, that just somehow mystically works. but then there's also the caster debuff. So for all we know, we could literally be cursing them right now. Um, But I'm hoping to see a really good game right now, as we do see the lanes are generally pretty even. A little bit of a CS lead over in the mid lane, as we do get a bit of damage onto Angel. The Seraphine actually doing a decent chunk there. It's nice that she's actually pretty good in the early game to get a lot of good poke, but also a lot of sustain.
Yeah, and can mitigate a lot of damage coming in. I think that Sona has a little bit of sustained like advantage. When you think about it, because her W is a little bit, for one, it's always healing and adding shields. So there are a little minute differences between these two champions that really do make them stand out differently from each other. But yeah, Seraphine definitely has the damage advantage. So we are going to see Angel and Queenie. They are backing pretty early, just kind of shoving the wave and doing the standard here as the first. Unfortunate for Vulgai is the first grub that is marked for him is going to end up going to the Maokai. So Duddy is on top of that and making sure here is.
Oh man, we're getting a little bit of a fight up top side, even though there's a level disadvantage. Crow wanted to keep chasing that down. I do like the fact that the Aatrox literally just hit 2 sweet spots, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, even though I'm a level advantage, I can't fight anymore. And so you got the Malphite immediately going back, and should be TPing back unless he's opting to walk. That'll at least be able to give the Aatrox a little bit more of an advantage in the lane, give him the chance to push that in, and then unless he decides not to, but give him the chance to push that in, and then make the Malphite miss a bit of that wave.
Yeah, and I like this call from Esco. I think that it's the right call to walk back here so that you have a TP advantage for when the grubs come up. Also, I don't think he caught it in time, but he almost was able to catch it to set up a freeze and to force the TP out of Chromium, as I guess he did end up getting that, because here comes the TP out of Chromium. Yeah, as you can see, like there was a good small push coming on that side here. So the longer that this fight goes, and once the mana flow band is completed for Malphite, he's going to start having a much easier time because you get a lot of mana regen after that. So the first like 4 to 5 levels, maybe even 6 to 8 minutes of this matchup is very one-sided for the Aatrox. But then after that, the laning phase will become a lot easier for the Malphite, and they start to fill very different roles on the teams. We are going to see the first potential gank as Vulgai is coming up here while this fight is happening on the bot side.
Yep, and I think now we're gonna get the focus on there. I did like the root that was landed by the Seraphine down there. Could have been a decent much chunk more of damage down and probably poked out the bot lane. But now Vulgai making him pop the ult, and that's gonna be Aatrox making the attempt to try to get away, able to land the chain, pull them back, and Aatrox escapes. No flash needed.
No, but he is going to have to deal with a lane that is pushing away from him, and Vulgai is still sitting here, and you do still have the ultimate from Malphite, so that is a huge cooldown. It's not as bad as having to burn a flash, so a lot easier for Chromium to justify that. On the same side here, Bloom Gaming doing a great job recognizing, hey, Vulgai's up top, let's go for the dragon, but they are in for a little bit of a fight here. Or
not snap track, but the Chomper is going to be put right behind. Engage, twist advance, goes in, able to land on Angel, but he's going to have a nice cleanse to get away from the Maokai. Now Dongo trying to chase down Shark Enthusiast, is barely living on an HP. Nah, we're not going to get it, too far away. But that was a good call down for Dongo to start trailing down, because if they did extend that fight just a little bit, that probably would have been the perfect execution, and that would have been a couple kills going right over to Monkey Mafia.
Yeah, because as we saw, the flash expended from the Maokai did end up getting the flash and the cleanse from Angel on this Jinx, but it was okay because they were actually returning damage a lot better than Bloom Gaming was even dishing it out. So I think that Shark Enthusiast being so low on mana right now on the Seraphine is going to have to back here, because I don't think they have any like mana sustain working in their favor right now. So it's going to be really hard for them to justify staying here. I think they might even get Ashe sitting by themselves for a moment while they back here, because a manaless Seraphine is really, really useless. As now we're seeing the teleport from Esco that he decided to save earlier is actually working in his favor. He is down a good, 18 CS here, so a good chunk, but still holding his own in this losing matchup is Vulgai looking for ganks and opportunities, but just not getting any now.
That's just it's unfortunate that he's losing out on a lot of these like opportunities that he does make. Like I do like seeing that the fact that Guy's trying to be an active jungler in his lanes, trying to make something happen, but at the same time it feels like he's just using up a lot of time, missing out on farm. And as we already see, there is a slight advantage for the Maokai at this point, as we can see Chains miss and chasing down Guy. Perfect execution, not gonna land, does have the perfect execution of its own, able to land on the two members, but now he's surrounded by others. Aqua, Felix, and Maokai actually gonna be able to get there, and then it's gonna be the Jinx taking it out with a rocket. First blood going over to the side of Monkey Mafia, but I think we might be able to return that kill, able to land the ultimate from the Seraphine. The charm not gonna be enough to keep the Abessa down, as she's able to just dash and skirt away. That's still 0-1 for the side of Monkey Mafia.
It is, and top lane starting to fight and scrap a little bit now, and I absolutely love the fact that the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Jinx Rocket both hit at the same time. As you know, Jinx ends up getting the kill, Ashe ends up saving the king, is kind of fierce. So yeah, as we see this breakdown, good usage of all of the ults, unfortunately, for the side of Bloom Gaming here. You do end up getting that, and I kind of feel like the Maokai ult was a little used inappropriately there. I think that if he would have saved it while the Kindred ult was up, like instead of using it while the Kindred ult was up, you know, like it just kind of didn't do anything. They wanted to stay where they were at, right? Like, so I do kind of feel like if he had used that afterwards, then maybe they could have had a little bit better opportunity for a follow-on kill, especially since the Seraphine had gotten up and used the Encore and was able to get, you know, a little bit of lockdown and onto the Ambessa. But unfortunate for Bloom Gaming. Good plays from Monkey there, and that's the kind of stuff that they're going to need, you know, moving forward, especially since Kindred, like we were saying, just not getting what they need, but is adapting a little bit to taking some of the jungle here as Little Gank coming out.
And then the Maokai ulti gonna come out. Kindred is down here, twisting the advance right on to Kindred. Kindred getting knocked back, and that's gonna be the arrow able to land, and just one more needed. That's gonna be my team muted, getting that kill as they take out the enemy jungler.
Yeah, no, that was kind of weird. I could have sworn I saw a cleanse off of that before the Enchanted Crystal Arrow came out, so I don't know if there's a QSS in the thing of King Vulgai, or if I just completely messed that up and missed it. Yeah, I guess it just looked weird on my screen, but yeah, that's just unfortunate. You know, you come down, you think you have the numbers advantage, next thing you know, Twisted Advantage is catching everybody out here, and you know, just a good job by Duddy to, you know, be where he needs to be, and then unfortunate miss from the Seraphine, but able to follow up with that here. King Vulgai just not long in this world, and it's huge that it's going on to the Ashe as well, because you are going to want My Team is Muted to get as far ahead of this Jinx as they can, and since they had the unfortunate occurrence of the Super Mega Death Rocket taking the kill in the mid lane, it's nice to be able to get a return kill over here in the bot lane.
I was gonna say these two laners are generally a little bit even. Yes, the Jinx is a little bit more ahead on the cull stacks, but for the most part, between the kills, the CS, they're generally a lot more even. And they kind of keep bouncing back and forth who has the lead. So this one kill advantage, honestly, or this one kill to one kill doesn't mean a big advantage. But King Volguy now is gonna be able to sit here and king as the public execution comes out, tries to use the unstoppable ult to be able to negate it, and that's gonna be the kill taken into the tower. Aqua Feels is gonna be able to get one for himself on the Silas.
I don't know if that is the most unfortunate set of circumstances for Dog Licker, or if that is just the biggest 5-head play from Aquafelis, but the fact that he Malphite ults as the public execution is lined up on him and he stays in line with it to bring her under the turret, like, that is just such a crazy play, and if that was done on purpose, well done to Aquafelix, and if not, that is so unfortunate for Dog Licker, as you're just like, okay, here I am under the turret with no flash and no way out, so, on top of that, Bloom Gaming is able to answer with a dragon, but now Cronium on the top side saying, hey, maybe going after the grubs, but it doesn't look like he's gonna commit to it. As Vulguy is gonna have to do something here to start to separate himself from Duddy, because Duddy is getting all of the counter ganks in, and he's getting all of the objectives so far. And if these three grubs go over to Aatrox and Silas, that is not going to be good for the side of Bloom Gaming. So I really think that Monkey Mafia need to nip this in the bud and get over and start crowding these grubs right now and, you know, force the taking of this objective.
think right now Kindred is currently thinking of hopping on the ball and hoping to take it as she does. And it's unfortunate because we do see the Kindred has been stuck on one stack for the entirety of the game at this point. And it's just like, okay, like we know that Kindred generally once we get the 4 stacks, things start to, you know, turn up a little bit. But if you're not getting to that stack point much faster, you're gonna just kind of be much more behind. And just the arrow gonna land as the encore lands. Maokai is down here. They're looking for the Jinx. The Jinx trying to fight back. Rocket's going to land, but it looks like they're just gonna give the kill over to my team Muted. Once again, Angel getting slain by another gank in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I don't think that Angel could have played that any more perfectly. Like the twisted advance hits and the encore hit, and then the cleanse comes out. So they were completely locked down with 3 different ultimates, and they actually cleansed all 3 of them at the same time, or at least waited until the 3rd cleanse. So that was huge for them, but unfortunately, there's just too much lockdown on the side of Bloom Gaming for Angel to deal with. So they do end up getting their Yuntals completed here, so they are going to start stacking that and getting the crit ready, and it's going to be huge for them towards the end, or towards the mid game as it starts to develop. And both of these ADCs are getting really close to finishing their cull. Unfortunately, both having to back, one by death and one just by sheer having to back. So we do have a Kraken Slayer into the Yuntals. It does look like Ashe is going to end up going for the Runons. So once that Hurricane is built up and they're able to apply the slow across the board, they just have so much crowd control in so many different ways on Blue Gaming. So I really do like their comp, especially for the later games. But Monkey Mafia is still doing a good job of at least staying in the game. It does feel like Blue Gaming is like winning this right now. But you know, you do have all the grubs on the side of Monkey Mafia now, and it's only a 1k gold lead, so they're not out of it by any stretch of the means, and as long as they don't let this like small lead balloon, I think that they'll be okay, as Duddy is coming back to this bot lane once again.
And I think that he's right to be here. If Jinx oversteps even the slightest at that point, you have the perfect opportunity to be able to land it. As they're going to be able to come out, they're trying to get more, but the Chomper's going to be able to stop them. Twisted advance, stop the Jinx, but King Bull Guy is here, but it's not going to be here quick enough to act on the killing spree. And just looking to chase another one down. Get the autos down, but it's not going to be enough as the shutdown comes out from the Super Mega Death Rocket, and they're going to be able to turn this around as Investors looking to go ahead and chase down the Seraphine. We're going to just turn around as Silas makes his way, and I think they know Flash, Twisted Advance, going to be able to get onto him, and it's just not able to hold him down long enough for Silas to get there and be able to utilize the stolen public execution.
No, and I don't know like who made that call, but that was definitely the right call to back up there. But Silas, I don't even think he came over any vision. It looked like he was coming through his own jungle where all of that is vision warded through the Tri-Brush. So good calling, very heads up, you know, map awareness from the side of Monkey Mafia when you're in the middle of a fight. But as this starts here, My Team is Muted does end up getting this off, and I think they wanted them to step up a little bit more, and I think that they maybe could have gotten a double kill there if they did. Queenie doing the good guy or good gal move here is, you know, she saves this Jinx 100% here, gives her life for it, and then very fortunate for the Jinx rocket to hit there. Unfortunately, once again, Kindred had Maokai marked. So yeah, as we see here, like he shows up from the backside there, and they just, I don't know what it was about this play or the way that Bloom Gaming was playing that Monkey Mafia was like, yeah, we're gonna stop this. But very, very good heads-up play from them. As now we are going to see the lane swaps come in.
Lane swaps is a hold down. Is My Team Muted going to be able to take out the Investa? And right now, Monkey Mafia looking like they're on the downward trend as they fall behind it a little bit. Engaged by Aquafelis, has the ultimate from the Sona. Sona lands their own ultimate right onto him, able to stop the rest of the assault. Angel now turning around, looking like they want to try to land more of an assault on to the Silas, but now with more team members here, Silas is feeling brave. King Bull Guy gonna go in, but gets CC'd and tampered up as the Maokai comes out to hold him down, and that's another death to jungle from Monkey Mafia, not on the top of this game.
No, he's definitely not, and this just seems like a weird, I don't really understand the Kindred pick here. We talked about it in draft. Before the game started, it didn't really seem like it fit into the style of their comp, where I think that even an Ivern or something where if he wanted to like maybe not pick the most, like the strongest jungle because they ended up getting the Maokai. I don't really understand the Kindred pick here. It's definitely not working out, and just Bloom Gaming is just getting all of the momentum in this game going their way really quickly. The only lane that really hasn't seen much action yet is the top side, but eventually that's going to have to come down, and Aatrox is just really far ahead of this Malphite right now, so not
Honestly,
looking good.
Yeah, right now the whole team of Bloom Gaming looking on form. They, as we can see right here, Big Cloud Rise saying, Duddy going crazy on the tree, and yeah, no, this tree has been everywhere on the map, absolutely insane. Just about every objective except for the grubs secured for them as well. It is actually kind of crazy in Bessa. Oh, nope, not gonna try to go in on that. I thought they were gonna go for it, but no. As the rest of the Monkey Mafia team right now crowding around this Rift Herald looking for Chromium, not gonna use the Malphite ultimate to try to engage that, and instead they're just gonna go immediately turn on to the Rift Herald. But we do see the Ashe and the Seraphine. I believe they're gonna start walking up towards it. No, I think the side of Bloom Gaming is willing to give this up, and I mean it's an objective. I think they can afford to give up some of these. They already do have a decent goal lead.
Yeah, and this is just going to be basically towers for, whatever. I think they're trying to... Are they trying to bait them here? Or were they waiting for the mark to come up there? That was just a weird... Like, I thought the stream was frozen for a second.
No, the mark is... I think the mark is spawned on... Is it? No, the mark is spawned on his base
right
camp,
now.
so yeah, so... I don't think they were stalling for the mark, or they were, maybe you're right, maybe they were stalling for the mark and it ended up spawning on the race camp, and now Maokai's on there, now once again denying another stack from the Kindred, which is just, this is what keeps, if you keep doing this, the Kindred's never going to catch back up. At 0-4-2, we do have a fight in this bot lane though, as the Sona is slowly making her way down there. I don't know if Silas saw her on a ward. No, there's nothing to be seen there, so I don't think, but they're gonna back off and just leave a vision ward of their own. That was very interesting engage indeed down there, and I don't know if right now if the investor really beats Silas at this point.
No, I mean 20 CS down, 1 level down. You wouldn't think so. I mean they do have, there's a little bit of a fight.
Oh
here,
wait.
but... Yeah, that's just that's gonna happen, but yeah. You do have the I'm blanking on the prowlers. I think for the Tiamat item for Ambassador. I'm blanking on the name, but there is that, so there is a lot of like penetration that they have. But I really don't think that Aqua Felix does lose this in a straight up 1v1, but maybe potentially just making sure that they're not getting ganked. Both of these teams seem to have a sixth sense of when the other team is like about to make it a numbers disadvantage. It's kind of uncanny outside of King Bull Guy where he's gotten caught, but other than that, yeah, maybe he's just being extra cautious and not wanting to fight in the middle of the lane, and honestly, can't blame him.
I'm gonna say this because I'm blanking on the name too for the sole reason of this item in particular with Mbessa is not something I normally attribute to her when it comes to like this. I usually always see generally, and people could correct me if I'm wrong, but I usually see Eclipse first for Mbessa, general amount of the time, if I'm not wrong. Like, they go Eclipse into, I think, now they go into the Brutalizer item. But I don't remember seeing the lethality, Hydra item on her a lot. So that's very interesting. Yeah. And I don't see that item very much either, but it looks like the first turret's going to be destroyed here by the side of Monkey Gaming, able to get back, claw back a little bit more of that gold as they bring it back to within 1.6k. But wait a second, we do see the sapling able to dish out the vision as we get a fight up in the top side. This Aatrox is actually doing pretty well against this Maokai. A decent amount of farm up, 1 kill. It's the whole team of Bloom Gaming right now is actually doing extremely well, and I do see Silas TPing up towards the side. They do want to get this ready. 30 seconds to potential Mountain Soul, early Mountain Soul. I do see them wanting to fight for this, but it's just this time though, the difference is that Monkey Mafia is actually here on the setup, I feel, a little bit sooner than Bloom Gaming was. So because of that, they do have a slight advantage of just trying to walk in here, but Silas is now going to walk in, so he's going to jump in. Silas is current mark with his advantage. He's going to go in as the Olympus fight jumps down, and the rest of the fight, the shutdown comes in, goes in on the Seraphine, able to take him out, the King Bull Guy going to end up falling on Silas as Ashe able to secure the kill on the enemy ADC. The Jinx going down, and Silas securing some of the kill onto the Sona. As 2 more members is all that's left. As Mbessa drops the Cardium, and he's chasing them down into the turret. The Raid boss is here. As it's a 4 to 5 ace, or 1 to 5 ace for the side of Blue Gaming, and they're going to be able to secure this dragon, be able to secure this soul, and keep their lead in this game.
And I absolutely love this play from Aquafelis on here. He waits until the Malphite shows up to get it. Not only does he just big balls going in like right away off this Silas like 1v5, he also waits until the Malphite is here to steal the Unstoppable Force and then hop on top of Angel like right away. As you see, gets stolen right here. All of this is going on, and he's like, oh, I see Kindred and Angel out on the backside here. Let me just go in. And so huge play from Aquafelis here, really showing a lot of patience, and then the mechanic work on the back end of this fight. So, I mean, like, I know a lot of other stuff happened in that fight, but that was almost all him on that one. So that was huge.
We got to definitely give a little bit of props over to the Seraphine on that fight as well, because of that very well done encore that was landed in the backside that managed to clip the Mbessa, and I believe the Kindred off in the back end. Kindred tries to run away, Malphite ult gets stolen, engage, boom, and that's really what leads to that fight being such a big win. And now we're looking down at what seems right now almost, it feels like it's almost an impossible game for them to win, as the Baron is looking like the next target for the side of Bloom Gaming. I mean, yes, it makes sense. It's the only objective up on the map at the current moment, but I don't think they want to just take an immediate Baron fight unless they can kind of see, because you don't want to just blindly walk into Monkey Mafia right now. Like, the last thing you want to do is walk blindly into a Malphite ult. And yeah, you got Mountain Soul, makes you a little bit tankier, but you're still a squishy. Get CC long enough and you're dead. The only thing I can say here, though, is that right now, I don't think there's a whole lot of threats, unless Silas is completely caught up public execution, gonna still lands respite, but it's not able to take all that damage, drops it down, the stolen ultimate for themselves, as the Ashe is coming down, takes out Jinx, but that's gonna allow for them to live, as Jinx got taken off to the side there. We didn't even get to see that part for a moment, as we were more focused on the Silas, if they were gonna live or die, and Jinx being down means the Baron for the side of the game.
Yeah, I didn't see the Jinx either. Yeah, they committed so much to this Silas, and him getting out of here using the Kindred ult here. Okay, so that's what happens. So you just get Ashe ulted as Angel is also sitting there watching the Silas trying to take him out. So heads up play by my team is needed there. Both of these subs working really well for Bloom Gaming today, as the Ashe and the Silas are both subs here. So they're both doing the Olympus thing where the subs are taking over the game. So it's nice to see that there's some stability in this league. But yeah, consistency. But yeah, just unfortunate for the side of Monkey Mafia. I don't think that this game is going to be indicative of how the series goes. If it is, then, you know, maybe Bloom Gaming is onto something here, and they really did just have 2 bad weeks. But yeah, this is officially Bloom Gaming's game to lose. I feel like once I say that, it usually, you know, kind of goes out pretty quickly afterwards. So we'll see. I don't know if the complete all-in glass cannon Ambesso was the play there, as Aquafelis able to use the Unstoppable Force to get out here. Yeah, I just kind of feel like they drafted themselves into a hole and never were able to get the high reward from the risk. The fight is going on.
And they're going to get Duddy caught out, but he's not going to be able to get caught, as the Malphite ultimate comes out to be able to stop him from advancing any further. Luckily not going to be able to get out alive, but that's an ultimate that is cool, that is on a decent chunk cooldown, but actually it's going pretty fast, so it should be up in the next fight. At this point, I don't know how Monkey Mafia exactly comes back, unless, again, they basically catch every single one of their members in a big Malphite Mbessa combination, and Jinx is able to basically just mow them down from the backside. But at this point, she literally can't face the Ashe without getting walked down. Like, Ashe becomes Mrs. Walk 'em down the moment that she, like, oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, now you're done, and it's just like, okay, so what do you do? They really need a really good pick at this point. I would think that if Malphite can potentially get onto the Ashe and they can burst her down first, there might be an avenue where the fight is won, but we do have to still deal with a level 16 Silas.
Yeah, there is a lot. I do think that the later we get into the game, Sona getting another item or two, scaling into the late is huge. The amount of shields and heals that she's going to be able to do and keep it going. There isn't a ton of just like instant kill on the side of Bloom Gaming like there is on Monkey Mafia, so maybe that's a way, an avenue back in. Like you said, get a couple good picks. Maybe some multi-person picks with the public execution and the unstoppable force, and then Jinx follow up. But yeah, this is just Angel at this point now. As soon as something hits, hits him on this Jinx, they kind of have to back off. So a little rough.
Gonna lose their tower here as King Blue Guy was looking to try and see if maybe he could do something off to the flank to the side, but I don't think a Kindred with only Kraken Slayer and Collector is really gonna end up doing too much. If she even gets looked the wrong way, they turn on her, and that's at least her ultimate gone. If not, both her flash and every possible escapability that she would actually have.
Yeah, and I really like the communication of Bloom Gaming. Like, it still hasn't slowed down. If you just notice on the minimap, you'll look at the Aatroxes over at the Gromp because it just got picked up as the next mark. So as soon as that came up, they're on top of it, man. They're making sure the Bull Guy has no way back into this game without fighting. And since he's so far behind, like, it's going to be really hard to fight him. So we'll see as this next dragon's coming up. It is the Elder. This could be the Elder flip that changes it, but you have to win the fight first.
Yep, and already you see King Bull Guy being taken down a little bit of HP, but from behind, here comes the Aatrox. Lands Respite, gonna drop at the bottom of the fight. As you can see at the top side, open top, of course, gonna be used by the Malphite. He's laying on 3 members. That 3-3-1 down in the bot side, trying to chase and run away. The Silence able to find him. Jace getting caught up on the chain. My team gonna take out the Malphite. The Jace is taking out the Silence. Silence is gonna be able to take out more. As it's gonna be a double kill, maybe get a triple? No, just a double for the Aatrox as the flashes are blown and used. Queenie trying to get away for her life, but it might not be enough. They're looking to chase, going to walk him down under the tower, and it's the ace secured by Felix, and that's going to be potentially a game here for the side of Bloom in game 1.
Yeah, and this is just the case of, like, there's really nothing you can do. You put all your chips in the Jinx basket. Usually you have a lot of ways to, like, protect them, but Angel spent more time that last fight running away from the Silas and then from the Aatrox than they did actually like taking shots. So just unfortunate. I think that they were on the back foot as soon as the game started. So Monkey Mafia is not able to really do anything here. This was kind of a standard like draft diff, game coming out of this. I think the Bloom Gaming came in, like you said, in draft. Like they came in with an idea of what they wanted to do. They took kind of what Monkey Mafia was giving them, like Cronium was able to get the Aatrox, and although he didn't go like 14-0 in lane or anything, like played into a Malphite almost perfectly, and did everything that he needed to do to get his lead. And when it came time for the team fights, he was much more in the fight and able to do a lot more in those fights than the Malphite was. And the Assassin Ambessa along with the Malphite just didn't end up working out. The Kindred felt out of place. So I think this was just kind of maybe either Monkey Mafia doing a little bit too much of creative thinking, or just getting in their own heads with the draft. So I don't expect to see this game 2. I think that they're going to come out with a completely different play style and everything. But yeah, I mean, you can't say enough. Like Bloom Gaming doing a great job of taking what's given to them and then playing the game. You still have to win it, and they did a great job of that.
And I think we have to give a lot of credit to the fact that Bloom Gaming was able to do this coming off the back foot as looked at as the underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a lot of people, they were like, oh yeah, like they're not going to do this. And I'm
statement.
sure other people were thinking it in my head, like, or thinking it in their heads as I was thinking in my head, like, what is this LCS type comp? Like, what is they doing right now? And they were really like, they were playing really to win it. And I think that, when you got a slight chip on your shoulder and you kind of know that people are already looking at you like, hey, you guys are probably going to end up losing tonight just because the other team is looking really, really strong. It's like, all right, dang, like all right, so we got to actually show something. Like we got to show that we can actually play the game. And I think also though, Bloom Gaming came into this knowing that Monkey Mafia was not infallible. Again, they did end up getting a game taken from them last week, so it does show that they do have a potential chip in the armor that can be exploited. And then they showed it again here by being able to utilize a very strong composition to go up against something that honestly I thought could have found some avenues of winning, especially between, again, like we kept putting the emphasis on the Ambessa Malphite potential double engage, which then Sona all on top, and that'll allow for the Jinx and the Kindred to be able to get their damage off because they were going to be the primary damage. But again,